Hello class, let's talk about Windows and Internet security and everything you need to know to stay safe online. Alright, step number one, we need to have a good security app in place. And thankfully, we have a great one built into Windows. It's called Windows Defender, and it's kind of wrapped in this umbrella called the Security Center, or Windows Security. If you go to your Start menu and you type in Security or Windows Security or Defender, you're going to see the screen that I've screenshotted on the right of this presentation, the Security at a Glance. And you see all of those green check marks there. Those green check marks mean that my computer is protected. So when you see green check, green check, green check, green check, green check, green check, you know that your computer is working just perfectly. It's keeping you safe. It's doing everything it can to make sure you don't get any viruses or anything like that. So we want to make sure our Windows Defender is running. We want to make sure we have that green check. We also want to make sure our firewall is on. Let's talk about those components a little more in depth. So what is Windows Defender? So Windows Defender is a built-in security system for your computer. We've had a lot of rumors and information about Windows security, and Macs can't get viruses, but Windows gets viruses all the time. And there's a lot of silly things out there, but the truth is that every device is susceptible to getting a virus. Every Mac, every PC, every phone, every tablet can be a target by a hacker. So what does Windows Defender do? It sits in the background, it's running all the time, and it's always making sure that the files that you're bringing into your computer are safe. And it also does this thing where it manages the firewall. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means in a second too. The benefits with this, it is always on. So sometimes when you get an antivirus system, it's not always on. It's going to just wait until you run it. This doesn't have to wait for anybody. This is always in the background, and it's always checking every file right as it comes in. That's normally something you have to pay a lot of money for. However, Windows Defender makes that free and easy. It updates automatically, so they're always updating their what they call definitions of viruses, so they know all the newest files that have viruses on them, and it pushes that out all the time to your computer. And it doesn't use a lot of resources, which means it's not going to slow your computer down. It's not going to take up a bunch of RAM. And of course, the best thing is it's free. We also have the Windows Firewall. So you've probably heard this before. What is a firewall? Well, let's talk about a real-life firewall for a minute. A real-life firewall is a literal wall that is built to withstand fire. My favorite example is this is the legal definition in almost every state for the difference between an apartment and a condo. A condo complex has to have firewalls between the units. So if someone catches their condo on fire, it doesn't spread to the other units. Apartments, well, I guess you just have to have really good renter's insurance. So what does a firewall do on our computer? Kind of the same thing. It's a great name for it. It takes anything bad that comes in from the internet, and it just keeps it out for you. There's this word you may have heard before, and it's called ping. And a ping is just a tiny little message that your computer will send to another computer. And it says, hey, are you there? And if you have a good internet connection, that other computer will respond to you and say, yes, I'm here, I see you. And you can measure the time it takes for this message to go back and forth. That can be very useful. For example, if you are setting up internet and you go to google.com and nothing comes up, you wonder, is this my internet not working or is this my computer not working? You can send a ping to Google servers, and Google servers will respond to you and let you know if they see you or not. So if your internet's not working, but you get that message back, you know that somehow you're connected to the internet just a little bit. It's probably just not set up right on your end. It can also tell you how fast your computer is. When I worked in Wall Street and trading, one of the things we were always working on was getting our computers to be just a little bit faster. The faster we could get our ping between the Wall Street or NASDAQ servers and back to our office, the better our results were when we would trade. So the company that I work for spent a lot of money just getting that ping as low as possible. And you see this graphic here on the screen, courtesy of How to Geek, and it shows the greater internet, all those computers connected on the right side. And then we have a big wall up, and then we have 3 computers there. So it's really handy to be able to send a ping. But us, for our computer, we don't need to be receiving pings all the time. That's one thing that some malicious actors might do. A hacker might try and ping your computer and say like, hey, are you there? And we don't want to send that little message back that says, yes, I'm here, I see you. We don't want that to happen at all. So the firewall sees that, and it just looks at that message and says, I don't know, this isn't really important anyway. Throws it away. The person on the other end has no idea whether it got through or not, whether you're there or not. And you don't need to deal with that information either. So, in that roundabout way, maybe it speeds up your internet connection just a teeny tiny bit. So a firewall is nothing but a good thing. When you have a firewall, don't turn it off. It does not speed up your internet. Your computer should be able to know what is good traffic and what is bad traffic. So if you start maybe a World of Warcraft game and you're having trouble connecting to the server because of a firewall issue, don't turn your firewall off. Go to your firewall settings and make an exception for this World of Warcraft game or whatever video game or whatever application you're trying to run. But don't ever just turn it off, because that's a bad idea. Alright, so what if we want more security? If you do a little research on the internet, you're going to find that Windows Defender is not the best solution. In my opinion, as a professional that teaches this sort of thing, it's actually pretty good. And honestly, I think it's all you will ever need as a Windows user, as long as you're using smart browsing habits and you're just careful, you know what you're doing. And because you take this class, you're one of those people that knows what they're doing. So I don't think you're going to need more security. But my favorite is Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes is a antivirus software that's a little bit more conservative about what they consider a virus. So not only will this stop viruses and other malicious software from executing, but they also will block aggressive tracking cookies, that sort of thing that's not really a virus, but you probably don't want it on your computer. Malwarebytes will find that. So a lot of things that the Windows Defender will say like, oh, that's not a virus, it's okay. Malwarebytes will catch it and say, we don't want that anyway, let's get rid of it. I think Malwarebytes is the perfect complement to Windows Defender. I don't pay for it. I get the free version. The free version does not run all the time. We talked about how Windows Defender is always in the background scanning your files. Your files. Malwarebytes does not scan your files like that unless you pay for it. I think it's a pretty reasonable price, $25 a year. But it's more than I want to spend, because I'm pretty happy with how Windows Defender checks my files all the time. And when I want a little something extra, I run a Malwarebytes scan and I let it take off whatever it finds to be a little offensive. A lot of companies have done some independent research on different antiviruses and found that Avira antivirus is the best free one. It's not very pretty. It doesn't look great, but it is free. And you can't beat free. It also takes up a little more resources. If your computer's a little bit older, Avira antivirus might slow it down. I don't think I've ever heard of Windows Defender ever slowing down anyone's computer. It's really great at just being built into Windows and working for you behind the scenes in a way that you will never notice. You will notice Avira. It's just the best free antivirus you can get, but it does come with some drawbacks. Avast is a great antivirus. If you want to pay a little bit of money, I recommend Avast. It is a little annoying. It's constantly going to give you little pop-up messages like, hey, make sure you're updating. Hey, do you want this discount? But it is very good at what it does. If you want the absolute best of the best, I would recommend paying for a subscription to Avast. I have Norton Sucks, in there because that is the name of one of my friend's companies. He has this computer consulting company, and he has told me that anytime someone calls with an antivirus or problem, or they have a virus on their computer or something bad happens, the first question is, do you use Norton? And he says about 90% of people say yes. This is anecdotal evidence. It's not research based. I wouldn't consider this a fact, but his company is pretty big. He services a lot of clients in the Southern California region, and I kind of take his word for it. He gets a lot of, he's got two business names. One is his normal computer company, and then the other one is called Norton Sucks. And he says he gets about half of his antivirus business just because people will type in Norton Sucks into the search engine and find him and then pay him to take the viruses off their computer. So that's just my word of warning. I do not recommend Norton. Kaspersky is a Russian antivirus software. It's a great antivirus. They do a lot of great research. They have a lot of public documentation on their website. I really recommend checking it out. However, you should know that it is Russian, and at the height of this new Cold War, I don't want to install a Russian antivirus software because an antivirus software by nature is going to have access to all of your files. However, even though it's an expensive antivirus, they often throughout the year will give it away for free. They'll just do a rebate, so you pay for it, you get a check in 6 weeks to get your money back for it. So if you're looking for a very good free antivirus and you don't mind that it's a Russian software company, Kaspersky is the way to go. And to my knowledge, they have never had a problem. It's never been used to infiltrate a American or U.S. intelligence computer, to my knowledge. But I just want you to know that, just in case. All right. So I've talked a little bit about these great browsing habits, just being smart on the internet. So what does that look like? Well, the very first thing I would say is use a modern web browser and keep it up to date. Modern web browser usually means Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox. Also, we have Safari if you're on a Mac. And if I include Safari, even though this is a Windows class, those 4 operating systems are about 99.5% of what everyone in the world is using to browse the internet. And probably about 80% without. So, what does this mean using a modern web browser? Well, if you have Windows 10, you probably don't need to worry too much about it. Both Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Microsoft Edge will update automatically in the background. So make sure you are keeping your internet up, or your web browser up to date, so your internet browsing can be as safe as possible. These modern browsers will do checks to make sure you are not going to malicious sites. If someone is faking a site and making it look like it's redirecting to somewhere else, Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox will catch it right away. In fact, I think those two are probably a little safer than Microsoft Edge in that regard. We also have ad blockers. Ad blockers are pieces of software that you can run inside of your browser that make sure that ads do not come through to your computer. This is kind of a controversial topic. In my opinion, everyone should be running an ad blocker. However, a lot of internet companies out there, they don't make money if they can't show you advertising. So there is that double-edged sword with that perspective there. However, I think there are enough advertisements on the internet that are just a little bit malicious, that put tracking cookies that you don't want on your computer, or that may even surreptitiously try and take your credit card information, that it's just not worth running the risk of seeing all the ads on the internet. You should run an ad blocker. Also, I recommend using a password manager. Password managers are great. They are built into modern internet browsers now. You can log into Google Chrome. It will remember all of your passwords. Firefox will remember all of your passwords if you want it to. There are also some third-party password companies. My favorite is Dashlane. My wife and I subscribe to Dashlane, and we use one account, so we all have each other's passwords. And in the unfortunate event of a worst case situation where I'm not around anymore, she can go into that password application. She can have access to my email, my banking, whatever she'd need, because we share that. So I recommend that if you are partnered with somebody, and that can be a very, very good thing, just to have all the information. Number one aspect of internet security is staying away from sketchy websites. Most of these viruses that people are getting are coming from trying to download software or movies illegally. So just stay away from sketchy websites. Go to the real websites. Don't try and get a discount from Microsoft Word, because you're just going to end up putting your credit card information to some scammer and not getting Microsoft Word anyway. Just stay on the most legitimate websites you can. Also look for HTTPS. The S stands for secure. Anytime you submit personal information such as your name, your address, your birth date, your credit card information, that S means it's secure and that nobody else should be able to see it, even if they capture that website traffic. All right, so I talked about ad blocking, and what are some solutions for ad blockers? We have my favorite, uBlock Origin. There's also AdBlock Plus, which is the other big one. And if you are really ambitious, you have the Pi-hole. Pi-hole is a solution for the Raspberry Pi, where you set it up as a server, and if you put it on your home internet, like right on your router, and you set it up properly, and there are YouTube videos that will show you how to do this, it will block all the ads for everything connected to it. So that's your phone, your computer, your smart TV, your tablet. Whatever you have, advertisements don't get through. It's pretty cool. For password managers, I mentioned Dashlane, but we also have some free ones built into Firefox and Chrome. We also have a couple called KeePass and LastPass. KeePass, LastPass, and Dashlane are all free. They do offer some extended things for, for example, my wife and I sharing an account. We have 2 logins. We can keep track of 2 different people because we pay that monthly fee. We get some extended features. I believe LastPass does the same thing as well. So anything you download should be free if I put it on this list. And check Canvas for those links if you're interested in more. So what does browsing safely look like? One more time, stay away from those just bad websites. If it doesn't look like a legitimate website, just go somewhere else. Close the browser, open it back up, go to Google, find a better site. Don't crack software. What does cracking software mean? Well, a lot of times when you install new software, you have to put in a special code, or you have to connect to the internet so it can connect to the company that made it. However, some people try to short circuit these by either generating a fake code for it, or connecting to a fake website to give it a fake verification. This way is a way to just absolutely destroy your computer. Whenever you install something, you are giving it access to the deepest levels of the computer, and so when you crack software, you have to give that crack that was made by some hacker somewhere actual access to your computer. So it's not worth the risk. Also, don't download software. Don't search Microsoft Office free and our Microsoft Excel free. Yeah, I know they're a little expensive, but it's worth not having to risk downloading a bootleg that's going to just break everything on the computer. Don't download illegal movies either. That's just asking for trouble. When I say don't download software, don't download movies, that doesn't mean in general. I just mean like the sketchy stuff. Don't try and look for that illegal hookup. You want to look for the real thing. If you want to see the latest Marvel movie, you can find it on a legitimate platform. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Apple, but do not go to freemoviesforyou.biz, because that's going to be bad. Also, watch the URL. That's the website address. Here's an example: an R as in Roger, and an N as in Nancy. Back-to-back lowercase look a lot like an M as in Molly. So, for example, if they wanted to fake something that had an M in it, a hacker could register that website with an R and an N instead of the M, and make that website look very, very, very convincing. So whenever you're doing something like banking, or putting your information in for school or FAFSA, make sure you see a very legitimate looking URL in the title. Also, don't put your password in anywhere unless you're absolutely sure. If you get an email saying there's a problem with your bank account, don't click that link. That link might ask for your password. That doesn't actually go anywhere. They just take your password and then they steal all your money. What's better is to close that email, go directly to your bank's website, then put in your information because you're on the legitimate website, and then from there you can check to see if there's actually a problem. Thank you for watching this. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a great class. It was wonderful to teach you. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, thank you.